Do you want to make some easy money? I'm about to talk about this, and this is going to become an extremely lucrative market for years to come. What am I talking about? First of all, go out and find an old van. Doesn't matter how old it is. As long as you put the key in it and it starts, that's all you need. Find an old van and then figure out a way to turn this old van into a home. Go ahead and put a sleeper in there, put a little stove, put a little refrigerator in there. Let's say this van cost you $3,000, and let's say you spend $2,000 putting this stuff in there. You could sell this van for $10,000 to $12,000. The van life is a real thing. It's not going to change. And let's go ahead and talk about categories of people. There's the demo people who are going to be homeless, but there's another category of people who understand what's happening with the economy. They understand what's happening with their job. And these people are selling stuff on eBay, selling stuff on Craigslist, selling stuff on Facebook Marketplace. They're getting rid of as much stuff as possible because they're getting ready for van life. They're getting ready to live in a van. This is going to become a real thing. You may be working with someone in the future whose home is a van. Now, why is van life getting ready to explode? All right, let's go ahead and talk about housing. Right now, a two-income couple with good credit and money to put down cannot afford the average house, which I believe is $420,000. So if you're making $70,000 a year, your income would dictate that you get a $200,000 house, not a $420,000 house. So prices are going to have to come way, way, way down. That's the first issue, affordability. When we use the term housing prices, it should be renamed into an affordability crisis, because there are plenty of houses out there. It's just most people can't afford them. You know, with my old apartment, they dropped because when they renewed me, the rent went up $250. And then when they sent me a renewal notice this time, which I knew I wasn't going to take advantage of because I wanted out of there, it was $500 less than my current rent. The smarter landlords are making moves to get people in there because you have a ton of luxury apartments. You have a ton of houses, like houses in the $500,000, like I would say 500 to 700,000. They kind of sit, but houses that are at that 420, 430, they fly off the market. $1 million houses fly off the market. I don't know how many times I've seen a multi-million dollar house come on the market Sunday, be under contract by Friday. And these are often cash buyers. So one of the things that we're seeing is this housing market is going to force people to make very different choices. Now, here on YouTube, there is a firefighter who lives in his truck. Guy has a job. He talks about he saved like, I think $100,000 by living in his truck. I think he's up to $300,000 now, and he lives in his truck. There's a guy who's a nurse who lives in his SUV. So what you're seeing is, and there's a segment of the economy that realizes that they got to do something very different, even though they may have a regular job, or in the case of a firefighter or a nurse, they may have a really good job, but they're just crunching the numbers. And it's like, if I go out and get a regular apartment and do a regular life, I'm not going to have a lot of money. So they're making the choice to live in there. This is a conscious choice. And this is a whole different segment of America. These people are not broke. They're not poor, but they're looking at the numbers. And it's like, if I could stay in my van or my SUV or get me a camper, if I can do that for 3 years, I can save 6 figures and put myself in a much better position. So this is why van life, RV life, bus life is getting ready to explode. So if you can get into the procedure of being someone who can provide vans, who can build out vans, who can tap out, van life is getting ready to explode because there's once again a segment of the economy that realizes that they got to do something very, very different to make it. And they're getting ready to get into these vans. And literally, just go on YouTube, look at van life. I am seeing whole families. I'm seeing a man, a woman, husband and wife, and their 2 children living in a Ford E250. You and your whole family living in a van. This is people, once again, people are making some really difficult decisions to go ahead and to embrace living in a van. Or once again, and there's going to be layers to van life. There's going to be, let's call it, we just need a van. We just need some place to stay. We could do that $10,000 van. Okay. There are going to be people out there who are, once again, they have a job, they have income. There are going to be people who are going to spend $50,000, $60,000, $70,000 for a brand new van. And then they're going to spend maybe $10,000, $20,000 to configure it. So they're going to be like $70,000 to $90,000 in this van. And they're going to work at this van. They're going to drive around the country. They're going to document their journey on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. And they're going to show you all these beautiful sunsets and vistas. Because this is really, because van life was already strong. Van life was really, if you're a woman and you're attractive and you come on YouTube talking about van life, your channel is going to explode. If you're a woman and you're a little weird, your channel is going to explode. And if you are like a woman and you're really attractive, your channel is going to explode. And how do I know this? Roadrunner Nina and Angelica, I can't think of her last name, but she's in a different country. Roadrunner Nina is a truck driver. And Angelica, go put Angelica backing up a truck. They'll bring you to her video, I guarantee it. Angelica is blonde, either blue or green eyed, I'm not sure. And she has a video on her YouTube channel of her backing up her truck. With like 300,000 views because she's very cute. And then another thing that's going to happen, there are people who are paying attention. There's a girl, I think her name is Nina Dimaval, and her dog Camper. I'm going to say something, and if she sees this video, she may be a little upset. I don't think that she lives in her van. I'm going to tell you why. Nina Nika, whatever her name is, she gets massive views. She'll get like 200,000-300,000 views per video. And her AdSense has got to be between, I'm just guessing, $15,000 to $30,000 a month. I got a question. If you were making $15,000 to $30,000 a month, would you be living in your van? Probably not. And there's other little clues. I'm gonna spell them out because you never see anyone else in her videos except her and her dog Camper, right? Or maybe she'll have family and stuff in there, right? But there'll be views of her driving her van, and there'll be a drone shot. All right. She's driving her van. She cannot be piloting the drone. There's no way. So that means that she has people who are helping her, that she keeps out her videos. Once again, I don't think that she lives in the van. But because she's making $15,000 to $30,000 a month, she's going to make sure that you or I or anyone watches her video thinks that she lives in this van. And there was something that was really interesting. She got hurt and she was walking around on crutches and stuff. And she did this whole van life thing, and she went out in the lake, her and the dog and everything. And I noticed how well rested she looked. And I'm just sitting there like, she don't live in that van. But there's going to be a ton of people who are going to be making videos to make you think that they live in a van, because van life is, there's a girl, nomadic introvert. I don't even think this girl had a clue to what was going to happen. She had a job. She actually had a house. And she just like, I want to do van life. So she went out and she spent like, I think close to $50,000 for a new van. She documents it on her channel, and she just has such a quirky little personality. Her channel just exploded. And she's probably making $15,000 to $20,000 a month riding around the country in her van. But here's the thing about her. She really wanted to live in her van. She really wanted to live in her van. So she's doing real van life for real. She's doing it for real. And she's making a lot of money. But there's going to be people who are going to pretend to be living in their van because that money is going to be sick. That money is going to be crazy. And so once again, van life, a van life YouTube channel, van life TikTok, van life Instagram. I mean, literally, if I wasn't who I am, if I was just a regular YouTuber, I'll be honest with you, I would go out and get a van and just literally what I would do is I would take that van in certain areas and film. I would do a lot of filming. I mean, like crazy amount of filming. I would film enough, like say I drove down to Florida, right? If I was in Florida for a week, I would film enough content while being in Florida for 3 to 4 months. I would go crazy. I would be wearing my cameras out. I would go here, I would go there. I would get so much content, right? And then when I come back from that week in Florida, I've got 3 months of van life content. Me driving the van, me eating, me going here, and live off that. And then at the end of those 3 months, go somewhere else for a week, shoot a bunch of content for 3 or 4 months, and just go ahead and build all this van life content because van life is super, super popular. And once again, you have stages. You have the people who could just barely afford a van. Then you have that sector of folks who have good jobs and they've just crunched the numbers and they're just like, I'm gonna live in my van for 3 or 4 years and save me $100K or save me $200K or save me $300K and then go back to living a normal life while I have a stash, which honestly, I think that's pretty smart because that's what helped me. My first business, GC Solutions, I made $250,000, and that has been all of the seed money that I've needed to start all these businesses. I've not taken out a bank loan. I've not used any credit. So you can get $250,000, $300,000. That will put you in a really nice position in life. And once again, if you have a garage and you have a base, if you wanted to like go out and start reconditioning vans, find you a really like a van that's just, the only thing that the van needs to be is mechanically sound. It needs to start and it needs to run. And then you could just paint it, refurbish it, set it up. Literally, you could create yourself a thriving, rolling business selling vans for people to live in. And that's how I would advertise it. Hey, I got a van that's custom suited for you to live in. I would advertise it. And if you really wanted to make some money, and this is where it gets a little kind of risky, but let's say you go ahead and get a van for $3,000, you put $3,000. So this van has cost you $6,000. And then what you do is have a down payment of $2,000 or $3,000 and you finance this van for 2 years at like $400 a month, which is, or maybe even $500 a month, self-finance. And $500 a month. So that's $6,000 a year. So that's $12,000 plus the $2,000. You made $14,000 off of gross revenue minus the $6,000. So you made $8,000 in profit. And if you have a situation where you can have 10 of these vans on the road at the same time, you do the math, because this is going to become a very, very popular thing that people want to do. It ain't going nowhere. It's not going to disappear. It's going to become more and more popular. And like I said, with Nikki Demonval and her dog Camper, I don't think she's living in that van. But because she has set it up so nicely and people enjoy her videos and she gets tons and tons of views, I honestly think if she came up and said, hey guys, this is a special video, I really don't live in my van, I don't think her crowd would be mad because they like her that much. She's very likable. But one of the things that I'm seeing is there's a lot of YouTube creators who are getting hip to the YouTube game. And that's just one of the little things that I'm seeing that is happening with people being out here doing these certain things, setting themselves up. But if you start a business reconditioning vans, and I mean, once again, you've got stages because there's different groups of people who want to do van life. You got people out here spending $150,000 for a van. $150,000 for a van. And also you're getting retirees. You're getting a lot of people who are retiring and who are living in a van. I want you to think, with the things that are going on in the economy, with the things that are going on in society, people are sitting down and starting to figure out some things on a different level. So you're going to have young people living in vans. You're going to have old people living in vans. There's this guy, he's got this white beard. He looks like Santa Claus. I can't think of his YouTube channel, but this guy actually lives in a van, probably makes $15,000-$20,000 a month from YouTube, but he likes living in a van. So you're going to have a whole cadre of van life people who are going to be living in these vans. Some people are going to fake living in the vans. And there's this other guy, he does van builds and he gets like 1 million views on a van build. So once again, van life ain't going nowhere. It's going to get more and more popular as the economy routes and as we have more people get into it. So there's a lot of ways that you can make money with van life. If you don't want to live in a van, just buy a van, go somewhere for a week and film your ass off. That's enough to get you into it. Because I have thought about it, but I'm not really about that life. I'm not, because it just doesn't really appeal to me. But once again, there's a number of people that van life dramatically appeals to. They like it, they will get into it. And there's the people, because one of the things you will see is these people going to these wonderful exotic locations. There's this guy, I think he's in Canada. His name is Chad. And he actually filmed van life in a snowstorm. He's parked next to this mountain cooking pizza in his van. I think he has a dog as well. And I think that video got like 500,000 views. And I'm just sitting there like, would I want to be cooking a pizza in a van in the middle of a snowstorm? The snow is like up here. It's really snowing. And I'm just sitting there like, there's so many, because there's a lot of people who make van life seem to be way more attractive than it really is. And there's the reality of van life. There's the reality of living in the van. There's the reality of travel. There's the reality of maybe you gotta go to the bathroom really, really bad and you don't have a potty in your van and you gotta find someplace. There's all kinds of things, but none of this is gonna stop the van life movement. None of this stuff is gonna stop it at all. It's just gonna be kind of crazy. It's gonna be rolling out really, really hard because van life is here to stay. Van life is going to be doing something pretty incredible as we go forward into this situation. It's going to be doing something that's going to be upwardly fascinating. And one of the things that you really need to do and understand is the power of marketing, the power of the internet, because literally there's probably going to be someone that's going to make $1 million a year from van life. I guarantee it. They're going to make $1 million a year from van life, just rolling around in their van, talking about their life in the van. So I'm here to tell you, van life is getting ready to explode. And maybe you want to be a part of it, maybe not.